Hiya, so it's the end of Monday, the 9th of April 2018, and please excuse the angle on filming this on my phone. I didn't film anything all day until now, which is 21:56 PM, and that is because this afternoon, from like 12:15, I went to the People Focus Group Wellness Centre and just chilled out and had a laugh with some friends, teasing me about cooking on Friday, which is probably when this vlog will be up, on Friday. So I'll have cooked whatever it is that I'm cooking by the time you see this. My journey on antidepressants is still ongoing. I almost missed having my pill all today because I had a morning of not wanting to have got up out of bed. So I suppose some of the negative aspects of being on antidepressants are kicking in too. I have some issues with myself anyway right now. Can empathise with other people that do this, that struggle with it. People don't necessarily see every aspect of your life. In a couple of days I'll have something more positive. I'm going to try to do a video blog at the PFG event. I'm not saying there's going to have been a lot, so if there isn't a large amount of footage from that, it's because I'm taking into account people that have stated they don't want to be filmed on any cameras and things like that, which includes mine. I do have permission from somebody to do it, but obviously I'll be careful of who I get in. I've already decided what I'm going to be wearing, so you'll have seen by now what it was I was wearing. And just, yeah, sorry about not filming today. These weekly vlogs are hard enough to keep interesting. That's why you got the bonus video this weekend. There will be some more stuff coming up after I've got paid again. But that's it for now, and I shall see you tomorrow when I'll be on my way to do my cleaning course assessment. Bye. Morning everybody. Not going to pretend like this week is a good week for me. I'm off to my creative see, I can't even get that right. Off to my cleaning course assessment thingy. Then I'm meeting my friend Tony, who says she's going to buy me a Costa. Then this afternoon I'm going to have a look at the Diamond Live Lounge, where we're having our peer support celebration tomorrow. Already picked out what I'm going to wear, but it's exhausting. Going to be pretending that I'm happy, clappy, when I'm not that great right now, but I'm going for the ball. So I shall talk to you in a little while. Bye. Just walking down to the college now. I forgot rubber gloves, like marigolds, so I don't know if they have any at the college, and if they don't, whether or not I'm going to be able to do this assessment. But I just want to get it out of the way and get finished now, so I can get on with just looking for cleaning jobs and stuff, and sorting my CV out and that. So I'll find out when I get there. But it's still rainy and cold, so I'm going to get off now before I get any funny looks. Bye. so that's it now everybody. I finished my cleaning course completely. I'm now going up to Costa to meet my friend Tony. Maybe my mum will be there, I don't know. So it's Tuesday the 10th of April 2018, just in case anybody didn't know. And I shall see you possibly later or tomorrow. Bye for now. Hello, I'm outside the Diamond Live Lounge with my mate Tony, who's my neighbour as well. We're like half an hour early, but it don't matter. It's not like I've got anything else I can do. So, do you want to say hi, Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my mate. We're going to have a look around inside and stuff and get ready for the event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which we're looking forward to, aren't we?
Yeah. I can't wait to see my speech about the walking group.
I can't wait to hear it. I'm going to be looking after the typewriters. I've already decided what I'm wearing tomorrow, so I might stand out. Right, I'm going to get going now because I have to upload all this stuff to Facebook and then download it. And it's noisy out here, isn't it, Tony? So,
yeah.
So, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, back on the street now, and I'm still with.
Hiya.
We're just going to have a cuppa and that up it is, and then I'm going to do some washing up and sort out some my clothes for tomorrow and get a bath and have something to eat, and then excitement for the event tomorrow, innit?
Yes.
Looking forward to it now, and well, bye for now and see you tomorrow. Hi there, I just thought I'd have a chat with you while I'm washing up. Look, washing up, just in case you didn't believe me. So today I got up at like 8:30, well 8:30. I woke up at 8 AM. Tomorrow I'm getting up at 7, so I'm going to be at the wellness centre for like 8:20 because we've got our event on. So I'm doing some washing up, so I've got something to put my food on. So I might have mince and mashed potato, some pasta or something. It's been since 2010 since the People Focus Group, which was the Personalisation Forum group, originally was set up. I joined in 2011. So this is, I think, our third celebration that we're having now. People are going to get to tell the stories. We've got classic typewriters and stuff which I'm looking after. Then we've got a load of bunting and stuff up. By the time you see this, the event all being happened and everything. So we've got J Duffy coming from Centre for Welfare Reform, and some other people are doing me speaking. There's a video, what's being done, photos. We're going to remember some of the people what have unfortunately sadly passed away since we've had the centre open, and that, like Bobby and Miriam and Erica and John, who was the one who died most recently, who I'm doing my sponsored hair shave for St John's Hospice. So that's pretty much that. It's running 10 till 3 tomorrow, and then tomorrow night I've got a free lesson at this music academy place about my keyboard. So I've got a full day from 7 AM tomorrow till about 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So that was my Tuesday, the 10th of April, and I'm going to get on with doing the washing up. Ooh, heck. Nearly cut myself on that, and see ya hopefully tomorrow. Bye! This is one of my typewriters that I'm looking after today. This typewriter is dotted around the venue for people to write their stories or feedback about the event, etc. So I'll take a photo of myself or something in a bit so you can see what I'm wearing. But I think that's just one of the things what I'm doing today. But we got some decoration up. Some banners. People are starting to arrive now, so I'll probably be going round and telling people about why the typewriters are here and stuff. So everyone's got tables that they're going to be sitting at, but that's all I'm filming for now, and I shall see you in a bit because it's not started yet. Bye!
Lovely to be with you. And what I wanted to do today really is to share with everybody what is exactly what we need in the world today. I've just come back from a tour of North America, and I had the privilege of standing shoulder to shoulder with young people who have the audacity to ask that I will stop shooting them. And I was so proud of the power of their voices. And I felt incredibly moved in Chicago that day. But Jude, I have to say I felt equally moved by what you said. It's just incredible. Thank you. Thank you for your authenticity and your power. There's incredible power in your voice and in your story. And in the stories of so many people that are here. So I thought the service that I could do you was to declare myself your #1 cheerleader. And I think Simon will be doing the same thing later on. So I think we're going to do a duo There's something really powerful in the small and the ordinary. So I just wanted to start with a poem and to end with a poem. And then what I want to try to do, and I think there'll probably be something in this for everybody, both from the perspective of those who at a grassroots level are actually figuring out how to get better at being human together, and those who are trying to figure out in the role of salaried stranger how they can come alongside people in a way that doesn't stifle or hinder, but really liberates. Because I think there is a role for everybody. The question is, how do we get the right relationship with each other so no harm is done and good becomes the norm? That's what we're trying to understand. And sometimes that is about getting out of the way, and sometimes it's about being fully present. So I want to start with a poem that I wrote, inspired really by Glyn and his work, and the work of so many people who I think just keep showing up, regardless of what's going on. They just keep showing up, but also they show up with love in their hearts. So I'll dedicate this to you. It's called Perhaps. Perhaps we don't need more startups. Perhaps we need more upstarts. Perhaps seemingly useless small things can be the solution to our biggest problems. Perhaps people are not vulnerable in themselves, but how we organize as a society means some people are more vulnerable to oppression and not being able to share and receive gifts that they have within them. Perhaps children raise parents, and pupils teach teachers, and patients heal doctors and nurses. Perhaps the left thinks the right is wrong, and the right thinks the left is wrong, and that is what's wrong. Perhaps we are not self-reliant. Perhaps we are other-reliant. Perhaps our pursuit of absolutes is serving to create more uncertainty and fragmentation. Perhaps our need to heal, teach, parent, lead, and rescue are as harmful as our more aggressive drives towards having power over others. Perhaps the enemy of the boardroom table is a friend at the kitchen table. And perhaps we need fewer leaders who say, this is the way, and more connectors like the people in this room who say, let's co-create our way. Perhaps. So that's how I wish to start. That's for you. Give the man a round of applause. What's happening here is amazing, but it's not too wild an idea either. It's not so amazing that anybody couldn't do it. That's really important to say. But let me take you through why I think it's so important. So I think the first thing that we're seeing here is that the goal very definitely is not to do things to people, for people, or even in a professional sense with people. But it's this idea that if near neighbours, if uncredentialed people come together with the notion that everybody here has a gift, and our job is to discover that gift and then get it received, that will itself be a transformative act. So a way of thinking about this is this idea that if people come together, not as near neighbours solely, but in bumping places, trying to get near to each other and growing a sense of neighbourliness, that actually is healing in itself. Now, it's not medically or therapeutically healing, so this is health beyond healthcare, right? Nobody is doing this with the notion that I am going to fix somebody else, or I'm going to rescue somebody else, or I'm going to do therapy on somebody else. This is this notion that's as old as our emergence out of Africa, or wherever it was we originally emerged from. That idea that we get better at being human together when we're together. And that idea that behind all of the labels that say you're not good enough, you're not well enough, you need to be fixed, you need to be rescued, that when we set them aside, because all of those labels define people out of community and redefine them into service land. So they stop being a citizen at the center of democracy and a local resident at the center of community life, and they start being a service user and a client and a receiver of something that some professional knows better about than them. And then we lose them. They're no longer known for the gift that they have to give. They're known for the deficit they have to live with. So we redefine them not as needed, but as needy. And what folks in this room have done who've been hosting you this morning is they've had the audacity to say, we are not needy, we're needed, and we need each other. This is the great revolutionary thought. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't need support as well, and I'll come to that. But the very primary kernel of the idea is that whatever we're trying to do, if we're in the business of liberation, then what we're trying to do is ensure that everybody feels useful, feels productive, and is able to join with others in creating a shared vision that creates an alternative future. Better, better tomorrow than it was today, but bringing what's good from today along.
Programme, and then moved on to joining Penistone Bumping Spaces, where I met loads of new friends. I first went to an event at Mandela Gardens, which I was invited to by Karen, and Creative Recovery, which that's where I fell off. Thank you, Josh. I fell off a space hopper, yes, backwards. Thank you. Thank you. I've lost my place now. Where there was lots of outdoor activities to join in, and we enjoyed a picnic in the warm sunny weather. When we first went to Penistone, there wasn't a lot of us, so we used to go and join in other groups, and Creative Recovery are an amazing group over there as well. I met Barry and Graham at the event, and we got to know each other so well. We got really sociable and gained great friendship. I have ever since joined Penistone Group and attended a few events and volunteer meetings to help the group out best I can. I helped out at the Tour de Yorkshire, which came through Penistone last year, which was a big thing for us. It's coming again in a few weeks' time. We're all getting buntinged up again. So we're decorating wheels this year as well. We're on our third, I think we've got about another 8 to go. So we went to Millhouse Green to help out down there at the local centre, where they held a raffle. We had some buns, and the money that was raised went to a good charity. Me, Barry and Claire all gave our time up on that day of the Tour de Yorkshire. We helped out on the bouncy castle and penalty shootout. We helped collect the money for the centre. It was such a good day.
I'm Simon Duffy from the Centre for Welfare Reform, and I'm going to talk about what I learned from PFG. Gosh, this is loud, isn't it? It's going down to my stomach now. Can you hear all right at the back? Is that okay? No? Yes? Yes. Okay. So it's a microphone on my stomach. I've never done this one before. Oh, right. How's that? Is that... Yeah? Yeah. Okay, good. That's slightly easier. So, yeah, I loved listening to everything this morning, and I was struck trying to prepare for this, not quite sure what to do. And when Cormac spoke, I thought, oh, that's good, because Cormac has actually beautifully done and much better done some of the things I kind of wanted to say. So some of the things I'm going to say are maybe a bit left over, or things you'd have in brackets after Cormac's talk. Can you put the next slide on, Billy? So these pictures here, you won't see them perfectly at the back, but they represent a few things that have been bothering me. I run something called the Centre for Welfare Reform, which is, for want of a better word, a think tank. It's based in Sheffield, just down the road. Don't boo, we're all from Yorkshire. I've spent a lot of the last 9 years, I think, having to get my head round not what I thought I'd be doing over the last 9 years, which was trying to help us move into a better world with more social justice, more peer support, more empowerment, more, we talked about personal budgets, which is where me and the group got together all those years ago. Actually, we've just been battling growing poverty, growing injustice, what in the UK politicians sometimes call austerity, but I just think is the theft of money from the poor transferred into the hands of the rich and sometimes to people even working in services. On the poster there, no, not next slide yet, sorry. I'll just tell you, Vinny, it's all right. So on the poster over here is a picture from Les Monaghan. I don't know if anybody knows Les, but yeah, Les is a Doncaster political photographer who's been documenting the reality of poverty in people's lives. And, you know, that's one of the things like Cormac touched on, but it's worth saying, isn't it? Friendship can do so much, being together can do so much, but wouldn't it be nice if not so many people were just really poor? You know, if it was easier to pay your bills, if you weren't worrying about debt collection or having a roof over your head. You know, I think that would do quite a lot for people's mental health. And over on the top here, there's a picture of some of the Daily Mail and Daily Express headlines about scroungers and skivers, and some of the language that's been used about people with mental illness, or some of the language that's been used about people with disabilities is just so wrong. On the street, where just around the corner from where I live, you go past, there's a newsagent, and the news, you know how like they have a glass, you'll have a glass-fronted building and then it'll have things stuck onto it, like advertising stuck onto it so you see it, and they've actually got a kind of little montage of a cup of coffee and a croissant or something. This is not in a very posh area, but it's got this little montage of a cup of coffee sitting on a newspaper, and what's the headline on the newspaper? It's one of those. That's just been portrayed as a kind of just something, just a normal thing to say about people being skiving from work. And I know, because I spent some of my time doing it, I know where those statistics come from, and they're lies. They're lies propagated by government departments and civil servants. So wouldn't it be nice if not only were people not so poor, but people actually weren't having lies told about them? And wouldn't it be nice if instead of treating refugees as people who didn't belong, people we should be frightened of, if we welcomed people? Because you know, that's the other bit about the fact that people can look after people, is people are good. We need people. A refugee is not a stranger, it's just a citizen we've not helped be a citizen yet. So, I spend a lot of my time doing things in a way I would rather not be doing, trying to document and share information, and also try and find ways of resisting that. Now, so I think now it's the next slide. So, and it must be something in the air, it must be harmonic convergence or something, because I actually, preparing for this, I thought, oh, I'll do a poem and another poem. So I've got a poem at the beginning and a poem at the end as well, which is just, so that's kind of weird, isn't it? And this poem is nowhere near as elegant or as beautiful, and I just made it up the other day when I was sitting feeling slightly grumpy. And so I'm going to read it to you. And it's called, Where is Our Welfare State? Politicians who don't come from here fight for our votes before heading off there to London to fight with each other, to be ministers, well, a few of them, to tell their civil servants, who've certainly never been here, how to make things better here, to pay their friends in business, who they'll go and work for when their time is up, and who certainly don't pay their taxes here, to go and deliver services here, to make their profits here, but not to spend it here, and to ensure all our problems still remain here so they can keep their jobs, their pensions and their houses there, wherever that is, but certainly not here. While all the time, what we really need here is a welfare state that is based here, run from here, where local people solve local problems, where local doctors and local nurses run our NHS here, where local teachers and local families run our schools here, where citizens run their own communities here. What will it take to get our power back here? to get our belief back here, where we belong. So it was a kind of grumpy, I don't think that scans very well, it certainly doesn't rhyme, but anyway, that came out of me one day. So I suppose that was a kind of grumpy, rather negative beginning. I suppose what did I learn? I think the thing I learned most about PFG is it makes me thankful. You know, every time I come to Doncaster, every time I meet up with Glyn or Kelly or Karen or anybody from the group, with Vinny, and I'm just thankful that people that carry on and they create great solutions and they give with their hearts and their minds and their bodies to each other, and despite all that crap, they make things better. And that when you run around the country or you run around the world and you scratch your head and you're feeling a bit glum, that really makes a big difference to me. Next one. I think I learned the true meaning of social work. I know Kelly is so shy, she hates it when I do this. But whenever I catch her in any situation where there are strangers around, I go, Adult Social Worker of the Year 2011. And there's lots of things that's brilliant about Kelly, but the essence for me, and it's been touched on already, Jude talked about it as well, I think, I just saw it when I attended some of the early meetings where we were talking about personal budgets. What Kelly never did was go, how can I solve your problem? She just said, what can we do about it? And then what Kelly always does is when there's crap going on, and you know, sometimes crap even happens inside the group and all of that, Kelly positions herself as the person who'll pick up and deal with the bit of crap that really nobody else is prepared to do. It's pretty humbling, but I think that's what makes her Adult Social Worker of the Year every year. We were down at the House of Lords the other week, weren't we? We were. Kelly, we were right living it up. And I tell you, we were rushing for, they were like, let's go for something to eat afterwards. And Karen and Kelly were walking up Whitehall past all these grand buildings. It's like Karen's going, do you know what time our train's at? It was like we realised we actually had no time to eat at all. We had to get to the train station, so there was living a bit on the edge there. I guess that's a bit PFG-ish as well. But I think that the reason we were at the House of Lords was because one of our kind of allies, Cheryl Barrett, is trying to launch a cooperative guild of social and community workers, and I think it's worth thinking about the art of social work for those of you here today from either doing social work or community work. There is a skill, there is an art. I think it's not something just to ignore. There are people who just do have a bit of a gift, and that gift is worth loving, and it isn't really loved at the moment. Social work systems and social work profession aren't really taking care of these core values, and so I don't know, I hope that Cheryl's initiative will really help us, but whatever we do, we've got to keep in mind the true meaning of social work. The other thing that really, I mean, again, Jude talked about this already, I learned that people matter more than budgets, okay? And in a way, this is a funny thing for me to say, to be honest, from 1990, after setting up organisations, trying to change things within organisations, all the way through to 2009, so that's nearly 20 years of my life. That is 20 years of my life, isn't it? Yeah, actually, forgetting to count the zero. Yeah, it's 20 years of my life. I was really focused just on one problem, which is how do you transfer financial power to disabled people from human services? So as part of that process, I invented something called personal budgets. Some of that went well, some of it didn't go so well. I ended up, my career was terminated by, you know, the politics of dealing with government and all of those things that happen if you kind of end up messing around in those worlds. And I learned a lot along the way, but when I learned more after that was what PFG, not just PFG, I'd say places like Women's Centre in Kirklees and Halifax, I learned this from too. From our friend Dr. Pippa Murray in Sheffield running IBK. But this little model here comes from Pippa's work, but it applies beautifully to PFG. She said Pippa was working with families with kids with disabilities and asking them what really makes you strong. And they were saying, well, you know, these budget things and the money, that helps, but it's not the most important thing. What really we need is each other. We need relationships. That's really, really important. We need what Cormac talked about is we need not just our gifts, we have the gifts, but we have to have confidence in our gifts, and we need other people to recognise our gifts. And we need community. Actually, we need to be able to get into things. We need to join in, or we need to be able to create things. And those other dimensions are what constructs real wealth. And this is interesting because, again, I don't suppose most people are interested in political philosophy, but this is kind of what quite a famous philosopher called Amartya Sen has been talking about. It's called capabilities. I've got to say, I think Pippa's named it better. I think real wealth is actually a much better name for it than capabilities. But it's a really helpful way of thinking about, well, what are we really trying to do? When we talk about inequality and injustice, then we need to be thinking about all these things. Not ignoring the money bit, I'd say, though, like I think Ian Duncan Smith et al. Would like us to do. Oh, just have some friends, you don't need the money, I think is their approach to life. Turns out they don't apply that rule to themselves, of course. But anyway. So, yeah, I think we need to really think about that. And the other thing that's really interesting that came out of Pippa's work, and if you look at the picture in the middle, there's a little flame. We never really quite sure what to call this. Some people change it into resilience, but Pippa and I think, ended up sticking quite often with the word spirit. But we also thought about that in terms of mental illness and mental health, because in a way, what it takes to use your gifts, use your relationships, use your community, and use whatever financial or other resources you have, is a kind of belief and optimism, a spirit that allows you to say, I know, what if we do this, and I'll do it with them, and we'll do it there, and then things will get better. Yeah. And you need that, and I think that's like the wellness recovery is really rooted in that, isn't it? It's that capacity to bring pieces together and move things on. So that, I think, you know, personal budgets and all that, I'm not decrying 20 years of my life, but in context, it's a small piece of the puzzle in terms of what people are really having to do in their lives to make better lives. Right, I think I learned that what people want is a life of citizenship, not a service. This came through again and again in all the work we've done together over the years, isn't it? A life, not a service, a life, not a service. It's really obvious, actually, isn't it? You know, again, it's not because those of us who believe this think that services are bad things, or that we don't value professional input, or we don't want an NHS, or we don't want schools. But those things are there to serve our lives, not to determine, frame, control our lives, aren't they? We go to hospital to get better, to get out and go and live a life, not to live in hospital. The way some politicians would talk about it is we're all just desperate to be ill, just so we can use up these valuable services. I mean, it's such a confused way of thinking about the world, you don't know where to begin. In my work, I've tried to define citizenship using this idea of the 7 keys to citizenship. So we talk about the starting point being having a life of meaning, and that, again, that's what PFG all the time read. Everybody's got their contribution, everybody's got meaning to their life, and it's unique to them. That's the wonderful, brilliant, beautiful thing. But then people need to be able to express that, and you can't do that in an institution, you can't do that in prison, you can't do that if you're stuck at home, trapped by your own 4 walls. And you need a bit of money. Actually, interestingly, through the whole history of citizenship, money has always been important. Quite often, people can only be a citizen if they've got enough money to be a citizen. And the Greeks, Cormac mentioned the Greeks actually created some of the first systems of basic income to make sure that every citizen was capable of participating in the democratic process. I think we could do a bit of that now, couldn't we? I think we do, you know, we need to be involved, and you need to have some time and capacity to be involved if you want to make things better. People need a home where they belong, a place where they feel safe, a good home. They need help and assistance. We need to forget this whole notion of independence. What the hell that means? I don't think anybody really, I mean, what does it mean? Do you want your child, child to grow up to learn to walk? You don't want your child to grow up to learn to not need anybody. Well, that would be madness, wouldn't it? So the word independence is really one we have to kind of be thoughtful about. We really want to be in a world of people helping people. People helping people. It's not that complicated. And we need to contribute. A life is made through contribution, through cooking the food, through turning up, through doing the planning, through working with people, through organising the walking football, through contributing. Contributing often looks like fun as well. That's one of the nice things about it, you know. And again, I think we should be a little bit more we should really start to rejoice in what life can bring. You know, there is a sadness to it, but actually getting together with your friends and doing stuff is good fun. Actually, it's fun. And my friend Wendy Perez, who's a woman with learning difficulties I've known a very long time, she and my mum, I wrote up this book called Keys to Citizenship way back in about 2002, and I gave a copy to my mum, and I didn't hear from her for a while, and then just before Christmas that year, she said, I said, "Oh Mum, what did you think of my book?" She said, "Well, it was very good, but there wasn't enough about sex in it." Which on so many levels is just not what you want to hear, you know. And but my friend Wendy actually kind of said the same thing. She said, "Simon, I think that's missing. You can't talk about citizenship without talking about sex." And I said, "Well, I'm just not the right person to write an accessible guide to sex or anything like that. Really, I'm not. But I can talk about love. Could we include sex in love? You know, just for the sake of argument, anyway. I know that I'm not going to get into it, but." And so that's the model we work with now. And if you think about it, I mean, love is not just the end of citizenship, it's also the beginning of citizenship. Obviously, in the most basic sense of where do kids come from? You hope they come from love, don't you? You hope it's love that's bringing them up to be citizens. So we talked about love. We've got to keep coming back to love. It's the fundamental to all of this. And again, the way in which the service world sometimes sterilises everything. And back, if people know their history, back in the 19th and 20th century, the eugenic movement quite literally sterilised people, sterilised places, organised things so people couldn't have sex, couldn't have love, couldn't have children. We've got to start talking about these issues, and we need to start addressing that kind of hostility to the basics of life. All right, Denise.
Cormac's got to leave, so I'm going to take him to
all right. Oh yeah, and I'm waffling on too much. I thought it was going to be short, so I just went for it. This is great. This is lovely to meet you. All right.
Stay in trouble.
This slide here, again, you can't see it very well, can you? This came out of some work that we did together, but I think what I learned is that people define what a community is. One of the nice things about PFG is they don't have very much money, but occasionally, if they do get a bit of money, they pay me, and that's quite nice because I don't have a lot of money either. And we did this work together about what was called user-led organisations funded by the Department of Health. I was really fascinating because I was in a room. We were in a room just around the corner from here, weren't we? Looking at this list, I don't remember who kindly went through the Department of Health guidance on what you needed to be a user-led organisation, but I think there were about 12 or 13 properties. And we're sitting in this room going, do we qualify? And then we're thinking, how are we in this situation? we're sitting with the best damn user-led organisation I know anyway, worrying whether we qualify for a Department of Health defined list of what it takes to be a user-led organisation. There's some kind of level of craziness going on here. And if you think about a lot of the time what's going on is that we've given away our sense of intellectual authority. We've kind of given the powerful permission to define things that they've never had any business defining. Actually, it just comes into my mind. I mean, a version of this I had when I was leading the work on individual budgets. I got a phone call from a guy called Rob Gregg, who was kind of one of my many bosses at the time. And he said, "Rob, I've been told by the civil servants that you can no longer use the word individual budget. It's now defined as a government word." I said, "But I wrote the bloody thing. I wrote the articles describing what individual..." "Oh, no, you can't, Simon, and you work for us." And so we went through all our paperwork and changed the word individual to the word personal. And in the end, because we managed to defeat the civil servants, we had personal budgets instead of individual budgets. But it really struck me at the time, how do you get to have the kind of arrogance that you think you can define the English language? When did the government own the language? Well, that's one bloody thing they can't nationalise it. It's our language. We create it by using it. They certainly can't define what a community is. Okay, next one. Right, here's a bit of jargon, but I think I know that peers can do local area coordination. What do I mean by this really? I'm not really going to talk about local area coordination. Some of you might have heard of, some of you might not. It's a really nice, interesting model that helps local communities get better at changing, spotting problems for people before they happen, avoiding services unnecessarily, all the kinds of stuff we already talked about. And I suppose it's just noticing this really. Local area coordination is a good innovation. The centre, my organisation, has been very supportive of people promoting it. But again, just avoid the trap of thinking a new technology, a new way of working, a new system is the answer. You're already doing all of this now. You don't need to ask permission to become local area coordinators. You don't need the local authority to come have a local area coordination strategy. We need to grow an understanding that this is a fundamental thing communities do. They look after each other. They make sure that people are okay. They spot problems. They solve problems. They create new solutions. So new jargon will come, new jargon will go, but you're doing it, and you're doing it now, and you'll be doing it tomorrow. And I guess the trick is to try and get funders, as Cormac was saying, funders still remain important. It requires a little bit of juice still to keep the engine going, to just remind them that instead of running off and getting some new wacky innovation from somewhere else, pay attention to the innovation that's going on in your own community now and get behind that. Okay, so this is again hard. So, and then this was kind of like my condensed version of, now, so I do everybody from Sheffield, see, Doncaster, Public Services, Doncaster CCG, Doncaster Council, forgive me, all right? This is my condensed version of what I think you guys could do a lot better. You could end competitive tendering and think about how you invest in communities and people instead. You could end competitive behaviour, and we could all do that because we could actually just start cooperating with each other tomorrow. You could end big public services. You could end the idea that we need to go bigger, we need to get privatised, and go local, 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 get back into the small, into the local, because that's where the goodness lies. End block contracts for care. We don't need them, they don't have value. You can use direct payments, you can use individual service funds, you can get power into people's hands. It's not complicated. You can end what I call hyper-centralisation. For the people of Doncaster, for the politicians, for the officials, not all of this is in your power, but you can start demanding it. We recently published a big report around Barnsley, and I'd be very surprised if the basic dynamics in Doncaster were not the same. What we discovered is if we counted up all of the money that was actually spent by the government in Barnsley, and then compared it to what you'd expect to spend if you took all of government spending, follow me, and divided it up by head of population and multiplied it by the population of Barnsley. In other words, if we compared what was actually spent to what should be spent, the gap is £750 million. Right? That's the price of allowing the power to go to London. That's the price of not demanding power back in your communities. You get an incredibly unjust redistribution of resources, and your money is lost somewhere else. So Doncaster, like Barnsley, like Sheffield, like so many places in the north of England, has been shafted for decades, and it's been shafted partly by a welfare system that's organised in this hyper-centralised way. So we need to think a little bit more intelligently about what the future is. It's not the next wacky initiative, it's really about where's the power lie? Where's the power lie? So we need to end centralised local government as well. I don't know about Doncaster. Sheffield is popular. I think there's a population in Doncaster about 1/3 million. Is that right? Have I got that right? Something like that. Population of Doncaster, 1/3 million. Population of Barnsley is 250,000. Population of Sheffield is 500,000. In the real world, that's 3 small countries. Yeah, that's 3 small countries. There are many countries smaller than that. While, you know, if we need to get back, not only get power back to Doncaster, but you need to get power into the communities of Doncaster, to the small places, the places where people actually are. Not keep sucking power up to City Hall. I know that local people and local services aren't responsible for the next problem primarily, but it's worth thinking about. We need to end attacks on the poor, particularly the attacks built into the benefit system. And I think that local councillors need to really seriously think about getting alongside local people, not getting alongside central government. The stupid work programme, which is a disaster, the PIP assessments, the ESA assessments, the universal credit disaster, the bedroom tax, these are all London-imposed attacks on the basic welfare of people of Doncaster. But we still haven't quite got local government confident to say that. They still tend to be a bit complicit with what's going on. And we need to just really get over this notion that people should be stigmatised because they might occasionally need benefits. And that's why I certainly am a big supporter of basic income, or a system where everybody would have a guaranteed, clear bit of income every week. Everybody would have that income. You can earn on top of that, but why can't everybody have that security? It's eminently affordable. So, I mean, that's a kind of political diatribe or a kind of finger-waving session that I've tried. But I think in a way that is what I learned from PFG, is these issues are really, really critical. They're political, economic and social issues, but they're not going to go away just by wishful thinking. We are going to have to try and push for change in our systems and in our society, and it may be a battle, but it's a battle worth having. And PFG can point us in the right direction. Next, I think, next. So this is my final poem. So I wrote this a little while ago. It's called We Fell Asleep. We fell asleep. We forgot that they don't take care of us, we take care of each other. We forgot that it's the rich who need the poor, not the poor who need the rich. We forgot that politicians work for us, we don't work for them. We forgot that government doesn't innovate, people do. We forgot that government doesn't create wealth, people do. We forgot that government doesn't know best. People do. We forgot about citizenship. We forgot about families. We forgot about community. We confused good with big. We confused achievement with wealth. We confused love with control. We forgot that the welfare state was made by us, it belongs to us, and it needs to work for us. It's time to wake up.
Dan and I met up with James and Hannah from the adult family and community learning team at Doncaster Council. Thanks for coming down, guys. And we spoke about our vision to bring creative writing into the community, into areas of the community that perhaps didn't have this facility. And they shared this vision because that's what they're about, working with the community. And they told us about PFG. And I must admit, on the morning I first came to PFG, I felt very nervous because I didn't know what you'd make of me, and I didn't know if you'd get our vision. Anyway, I needn't have been nervous, because just as today, when I walked in, there was a sea of smiling, welcoming faces that just made me feel amazing and very welcome. And Dan came with us to teach on the third session, and he's been with us ever since because he was also blown away by PFG. I'm just going to pass you on to Dan.
Yeah, so as a poet and creative from Doncaster, I feel like half the time I'm trying to explain to people the benefits, positive benefits on mental health of creativity, positive benefits on well-being. But yeah, today with Cormac and Simon's presentations, how they both started them with a poem and ended them with a poem, yeah, that battle's already won for me in the PFG in this group. And like Michele, the first time I came into PFG, I was really anxious. Yeah, because it was a new environment, and because I would be teaching a group for the first time by myself. And when I sat down to start the group and start teaching, I got a real welcoming feeling from everyone. And that allowed me to kind of reveal and share personal experiences in my life, which led me to want to start writing poetry. Yeah, and those personal experiences were quite traumatic, but yeah, and those experiences, I've been unable to share them with close friends, but I was able to share them with a group of people who 10 minutes before had been complete strangers. And yeah, just that kind of want to talk about that warmth and community feeling that I get every time I go to PFG, and it gets stronger for me each time I go. Yeah, me and Michele, we run the creative writing class every Friday, 10:30 till 1:30. We have a break for the community lunch. It's free. Everyone's welcome to attend. And yeah, we believe that everybody has a story to tell, and everybody's voice is important, and everybody can create. And after Michele's spoken a bit again, we're going to show you a short film that we've made. It's the first one we've ever made, so we hope you enjoy it, and more importantly, we hope we've kind of done every creative writer's at PFG's voice justice, really. So thank you.
The members of the creative writing group and their authentic voices and their experiences are just as important as anybody else, and should be heard. In fact, I'd argue that they're more important because they can teach others that we've still got a long way to go. I'm immensely proud of them for doing this film poem that we're about to share with you. It took hard work and courage to write their stories and to share them with you today. Thank you. few technical issues.
But within words, within poetry, it just releases from me, and it just comes naturally. And I find it very therapeutic. I suffer from a lot of mental health problems and care for people in my life, and I also got autism and I've been through addiction. So what I found is by doing the creative writing group, it stops me from going back to my addiction, and it heals my mental health problems. It gives me peace when I'm struggling. I have tasks to do at home that they give me, and when I'm feeling down and I'm feeling distressed, I get me writing out and I read what I've wrote.
The light fades from the world. She has gone to dance among the stars. A force of nature, a flame too soon extinguished. A shadow fell in your absence. A river of tears floods the ground. Loved universally, omnipresent in powerful persuasion, invisible but felt in our hearts. Silence fell when you went away.
Recovery is a journey.
Now,
I would like to say a big thank you for today's event because I have enjoyed it. It was hard for me to do. It was emotional and I have had a few people in tears. Kelly was actually crying. Connor Cambridge was crying, so a very big thank you for today's event.
Thank you everybody for coming to our event today. We've had a really good time and I've really got a lot out of it, and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all soon. Bye! Just in case any of you thought my Wednesday was over, I'm now off to a 30-minute free lesson at Amped Up Music Academy. Don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to afford to actually have lessons, but I'm off to go and see about the place now, so I shall be home about 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight, and I'm having a day off from filming tomorrow because I've already got loads from the event and stuff, so I'll see you Friday. Bye! So it's been an extremely long day, starting at 7 o'clock this morning, and as you will have seen, being at the Diamond Live Lounge in Doncaster Town Centre, and we were there till about 3 o'clock, then came home, got changed out my sparkly top into my Disney London jumper and a different t-shirt, and left here about 6 o'clock, and I walked around trying to find this Amped Up Music Academy. Finally found it after going the long way around down at Bennetthorpe and all that, because that's what the directions on my phone told me before I left. I now know that C starts at this end of the keyboard, A starts at this end of the keyboard, and it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Your black keys are like A sharp, B sharp, C sharp, and all that. You can do progressions like D, A, C, F and stuff like that. So I'm going to have a bit of a practice. He gave me a piece of paper he printed it out, so I have a bit of a practice because I'm taking the day off tomorrow, which is why I said see you Friday earlier on. You'll have quite a bit of footage this week, and then you'll get footage next week as well. So thank you for watching. That's the end of Wednesday, the 11th of April 2018. I'm done in. It's 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, I'm gonna chill and then get ready for bed. Bye. Welcome to Friday the 13th of April 2018. Things that could go wrong today include seeing single magpies by themselves and not saluting them and saying good morning, people falling out with each other, people trying to play pranks on each other, my laptop deciding not to play ball and let me put this video up first time around by restarting and stuff. There's so much that could go wrong today because it's Friday the 13th. I could get hit by a car or get shouted at again for apparently not paying attention. All kinds of things could go wrong. I could get writer's block in creative writing this morning. It is only 9:30 and not due till 10:30. That's if they're actually coming, because that's something else that could go wrong today. You might think I'm being pessimistic, but I'm more like being realistic. I could get down to the post office and find that I can't get my money out because it's gone. All kinds of things could go wrong today, but as I'm crossing the road, I shall see you in a bit. Well, I'm feeling disappointed that I didn't bother to take a photo of any of the poems that I wrote today. But I'm going home to hopefully get these last 2 clips up into this week's vlog and put it up on my YouTube. Not intending to film tomorrow or Sunday because I won't be going nowhere, so as far as I know, so there's not going to be anything to actually do. I don't know if I'll do some other kind of videos from my main camera, but as far as I'm aware, this vlog's over for this week, and since all there's cars and people coming, I'm going to get off, and I shall see you all probably next week, but I'll be busy with bikeability and job centre and stuff. So thank you for watching. If you like my vlogs, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm challenging myself to try and get to 100 subscribers by the time I go to Summer in the City in August. Share it on social media and leave a comment in the comment section below. Bye.